Hi there guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Show with me, your host Simon Conboy. Today's episode is part 2 of the Paper Power Rankings. This episode will be going over the defensive units. So for those of you who haven't seen the first episode covers the offensive side of the ball and very much follows the same format. I've broken the group down into the defensive group into 4 separate areas. We've got run defense, or pass rush relating to the front 7, mainly as a way of keeping 3-4 and 4-3 teams to being evaluated within the same bracket. If you're going with grading the defensive lines from 1 through 32, it becomes very iffy when you're considering 3-man versus 4-man lines, similar with the backers. And cornerback and safety groups, giving us the 4 that will give us a total. I'm ranking them all from 1 through 32 in the league. Team that comes first in any given category will get 32 points. Team that comes last will get 1 point. Totaling those together to give us a final score for each team. Then next Monday, we'll be adding the offensive and defensive scores each team's accumulated together. Adding another category, which is special teams and coaching, to come up with a final score and, in theory, a more gauged power rankings rather than just sort of going off of my personal feelings. It's kind of trying to consider everything. Bearing in mind, we've not seen a single snap played. Of course, a lot of the teams that are relying on rookies will end up rated quite low in a category, but I am planning on revisiting these rankings over the course of the season, seeing how things change. So we'll hop right in with the team that comes last in defensive rankings, a team that had a very good season last year. However, they come right dead last, and it's not even close here, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. So I've evaluated their pass rush, 31st out of 32 teams. They've got some suspensions at that position. They haven't really gotten any proven pass rushers, only some guys that have flashed here and there. Tyrone Crawford's okay at the defensive tackle spot. The linebackers aren't going to be used to pass rush unless things are not going well, such as the Tampa 2 type scheme that they're running. Looks like a pretty poor group in that regard. In terms of the run defense, I've also got them ranked 30th. I understand Sean Lee's a great player, but the rest of that line, again, it looks very talent thin. Jalen Smith, not sure how much he'll be able to contribute. It's a lot of question marks along this front 7. As I say, last year I think they were coached very well, but if anything, the talent is even worse this year. And then they come dead last in both secondary positions. They're relying on Nolan Carroll to be their number 1 corner. That's not ideal. Then he's got a suspension possibly pending on top of that. That's even worse. The safety position, they lost both their starting safeties in JJ Wilcox and Barry Church. Haven't really adequately replaced them. They're relying on unknowns coming in, starting and playing well. As a result, it's just impossible for me to say that they're going to be any good at those spots. Of course, I expect this ranking to improve when the season goes on, but at this point, with so many question marks, it is just impossible to rank the Cowboys highly in any particular defensive category. As a result, they only come in with 7 points, which is by far the lowest total in the league. But it's one of the anomalies. That's what happens when you lose as many players as they did and don't really look to replace them. Coming up at 27th with a score of 25, we've got the Cleveland Browns. Now, whilst I think there's a lot of young talent here on defense, there's a lot of issues. The pass rush, you're relying on Emmanuel Ogbah and Myles Garrett. Jamie Collins, I guess they could use into blitz, but it looks to me like they're just going to be playing a traditional 4-3 type scheme there. Myles Garrett, whilst he's got a lot of talent, as does Ogbah in my opinion, they need to show they can do it. So they only come 28th there. Run defense, we've got them at 21st. I think they've got pretty good with Kirksey and Collins there. Shelton should start look better this year with more talent around him. Willing to bump them up a little there in that spot. They come 21st. 27th at corner, they've got Joe Hayden, who's probably hasn't looked at the player he once was in the last couple of seasons. A lot of injuries there. Not much else at that position, so pretty weak. And then the safety position, I've got them at 31st. It looks like they're going to be going with Calvin Pryor. You'd suspect he's probably going to start. They did trade for him after all. Possibly the rookie in Jabril Peppers. Not sure what he's going to offer. I also think there might be a bit of a learning curve there with him. As a result, not got much proven quality there. And Calvin Pryor really was poor, particularly last season for the Jets. So they come in pretty low there. So overall, the Browns coming in with an unimpressive score, pretty low overall. Next up, we've got a team in a similar position to the Browns, the Niners, and I think both of these teams could rise up these lists significantly. There's a lot of young talent on these sides of the ball, but due to them not being proven, I just can't, on paper, I can't put them high up. So the Niners, I've got them 29th in the pass rush department. A lot of young players that they've invested highly in: Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner, Arik Armstead. Certainly could end up being a lot higher than this, but at this point I've got, I've added Elvis Dumervil as well, but he didn't play great last year. He may be, past it, but we'll see. Run defense, I've got them at 19. I think with the Reuben Foster, if Bowman can come back healthy along with the talent there, I think they could certainly be much better. I'm willing to put them reasonably high there. Cornerback group, I've got them at 28. Not a lot of talent there. We'll see how it all comes together. And the safety position, I've got them at 22nd. I like Eric Reed. Not sure about the rest of the group. We'll see how that all comes together. So they come out with a total of 34 points. Next up, we've got the Bears, another young team. I've got them in the pass rush department at 17th. I think Leonard Floyd looked like a future star last season. I think he played pretty well. May have been a bit stingy with the Bears here. They possibly could have come higher up, but it was difficult getting them up beyond. There's teams with a lot more depth or proven quality there. Pernell McPhee's been very effective for them, so they end up finishing middle of the pack there. Run defense, Eddie Goldman's a good player, just concerned at middle linebacker, so as a result I've only got them at 20th. The cornerback spot, they're a mess. I've got them 29th and 30th at safety respectively. They just have not been able to fix those positions. Still needs across the board in that regard. So as a result, they come in with 36 points, which is pretty poor. Good for 25th overall in the league. So moving on to the team that finished in 24th. Once I can track down who that was. We got the Detroit Lions. So pass rush, I've got them at 23rd. Ezekiel Ansah didn't have a great season. I still think he's a top player. Kerry Hyder showed some flashes. I think they're very weak along the interior. Won't be getting much pass rush from there. Which is why, as a result, they come dead last against the run. Relying on a rookie in the first that they drafted with their first overall pick to improve what's a very poor linebacking core. They've lost DeAndre Levy. They're weak at the defensive tackle spot. Very concerned about this team's ability to stop the run on paper. The corner group comes in at 17th. I like Darius Slay. It'll be interesting to see if Teez Tabor can contribute as a rookie, but they only come in 17th. Not enough overall quality in that group. And they come in 23rd at the safety position. Glover Quinn's been good for them, but I'm not too sure what else they have to offer at this point in time. This is another one of those groups. There's going to be a lot of unknowns, I think, so they could potentially rise up these rankings, but at this point in time, they do not look like a particularly strong unit. So moving on to the team that came 23rd in these rankings, once I hunt them down. We've got the New Orleans Saints coming in with 38 points. So I've got them ranked 25th in the pass rush department. They've got Cam Jordan. Yeah, that's basically it. Sheldon Rankins I thought played quite well, but I need to see a bit more from him. I expect to see him used at nose tackle a fair bit, so it may be tough for him to accumulate big sack numbers. The edge rushers, unproven. There's been some injuries there the last couple of years. It's been a real struggle for them. Run defense, with the news with Nick Fairley, I'm going to assume he's not going to be playing next year. So I've got them at 31st. Again, it'll be interesting to see how they use Sheldon Richardson with the Nick Fairley news. But they're very poor at the linebacker spot until I see otherwise. For that reason, they come in second from last. I've got them ranked 20th at corner. Of course, they got the first round rookie. Delvin Breaux has been in Marlon Humphrey. Delvin Breaux has been a reasonable player that not many people are familiar with, but have not got much depth at the position, needs some more quality overall. And I've got them 18th at safety. Anyone who's watched the show knows I'm not a fan of Kenny Vaccaro at all, but I thought Von Bell was quite good last season. Ended up taking another safety in this draft, so there's a bit more depth there, so overall that gets him into the lower part of the middle of the pack. So we'll head on over to the team in 22nd, and we've got the New York Jets with a score of 43. I've got them at 27th in the pass rush department because I don't know what they're going to be doing from the edges. Leonard Williams, Mo Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, between the three of them could be very good, but based on last year, Leonard Williams was the only one who played particularly high level, so I couldn't put them high up, especially considering all that pressure is essentially coming from a three-man front. That's not easy to do over the course of a season. The run defense I've got at 17. Again, that line should be really good. Not sure. Deron Lee needs to play better next season. If so, this is a group that could certainly rank quite high, I'd think, with that front three. 30th at corner, they're a mess there. Morris Claiborne was signed. If he can stay healthy and play like he did last year in Dallas, they could end up being better than this, but beyond him, they haven't really got anything at all. And the safety spot, I was willing to give him 15th. I think Jamal Adams is going to be a stud in this league. I also like the Marcus May selection in the second round, but considering they're both rookies, it's hard to put them much higher than this. But Adams, I really am high on, and I do think he's going to be an impact starter straight away. So they do come in quite high. I know it's a bit hypocritical compared to my rating a lot of teams down because they're starting rookies, but I think this kid's going to be a star. So willing to take a chance on that one. Coming in at the 21st ranked D, we've got the Redskins with a score of 46. I've got them with a score of 22 in the pass rush department. Ryan Kerrigan's a really good player. We'll see who else can generate some pass rush. I think, the rookie, Jonathan Allen, I think he'll help a lot. He was one of my top 3 or 4 players available in the draft. Until I see it done, I can't put him up too high. Not a lot of proven pass rushes on this team right now. Run defense are at 24. Again, Jonathan Allen will help a lot there, but the rest of the front 7, not huge. Hoping Zach Brown can play well for them, but I think they're pretty soft at linebacker. Beyond John Allen, I don't think they've got much on the defensive line. The corner spot, I've got them ranked 12th. Josh Norman, he was very good for them last season. Didn't quite crack my top 100, but I suspect he'll be better in year 2. The scheme they play, they execute pretty well as a group, even if there's no other outstanding players there. And then the safety spot, I've got them ranked 28th. D'Angelo Hall, I don't think he should be playing safety at this point in his career. Unproven guys. Could end up being a good group, but I wouldn't bet on it at this point. So the Redskins come in pretty low. The Packers are next up at 20th with a score of 49. They come 24th in the pass rush department. Mike Daniels is the reliable form, pressure player. I'm not sure about Nick Perry. It was, of course, was very good last year, but he's had a pretty lax career for the most part. So now that he's been paid, I need to see him do it more. Clay Matthews needs to return to his past form. I'm not sure. Be hoping that the first rounder from last year, was it Kenny Clark? They'll be hoping he can help step up this rush, but too often last year the rush wasn't good enough. Similar, the run defense, I'm at 29. I saw this team get run all over at times last year. Just not enough size at the tackle position. I don't think. Middle linebacker is not particularly good. Looks like a bad recipe to me. 23rd at the cornerback position. Added some talent. Desmond King, I think, was a savvy pick. And, they're young. They should get better, but again, we saw them really struggle at times last year, so they need to show improvement before I'm willing to improve that ranking. But I do have them ranked number 7th at the safety position. I think Clinton Dix has turned into a fine player, and they did draft another safety. Safety play was pretty good for them last year. I don't think it's going to be a big problem this year, especially considering how poor the rest of the secondary was. I think they did a very good job pulling it out. So next up, we've got the 19th ranked defense, and this is the Cincinnati Bengals coming in with 56 points, which is a real fall from grace. I'm sure if I'd done this a couple of years ago, I'd have had them ranked very highly. Pass rush department, I've got them at 18th. Carlos Dunlap's not a consistent pass rush, but he's an effective player. Geno Atkins is a stud. Beyond that, Michael Johnson's not done much in his return. They've not managed to get much pressure from the other tackle spot, so slightly below average there. Run defense a little bit better, especially with the signing of Kevin Minter. I've got them at 15th. Could certainly end up being better than that. Again, Geno Atkins is a big contributor to these because he's just that damn good. Corner, I've got them ranked 19th. Got a lot of high picks invested there. They do play quite productive. Adam Jones has been shockingly good in his late career renaissance there. And they started to get some production from other guys. Last year, I've got them ranked 24th at safety. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like there, but I think that's a pretty open spot on this team at this point in time. So next up, we've got a tie for the 18th ranked defense. We've got the Raiders with 59, and who is it that is tied with them? And the Colts. Colts a bit speculative on. I've got them ranked 32nd in the pass rush department simply because they've got Jonathan Hankins as the big name. The rest, a lot of unknowns, so hard to go too far with them. I've got them 22nd in run defense. Hankins will help a lot there. Invested at backer, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. The cornerback spot, I've got them ranked 16th. Like the draft picks they made, Vontae Davis, I think he should be healthier next year. He should be better. And I've got them ranked 3rd at the safety spot, which might seem a bit much, but I think their first round draft pick, Malik Hooker, I think he's going to be fantastic. Gavers is a good player. That, I think, has the potential to be a very, very good tandem, and frankly, not a lot of teams have two good safeties. Real struggle beyond the teams I had ranked 1 and 2 at the safety position. So I gave the Colts the benefit of the doubt. I'm assuming Hooker will get off to a quick start. The Raiders, pass rush, I've got them ranked 14th. Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin are great. They need to get some help from the interior to get beyond this point. Run defense, I've got them at 27th. I'm concerned with Dan Williams gone, how well they'll do plug in the middle. I don't think they're particularly good at the linebacker spot in the interior either, so I worry about this team's ability to stop the run. Cornerback, I've got them ranked 21st. They're relying on some youth there. Garyon Conley, they had Amerson play okay at times last year. After a quick start, their corner group really sort of fell off. If the rookie can step in and contribute immediately, that would be a great help. I've got them ranked 11th at corner because I think there's a lot of upside there. Big fan of Obi Melifonwu. I think he'll start next to Cole Joseph, who was pretty good for the most part last year. I think they've got a lot of potential. Maybe not this year. They could end up declining in these rankings, but I think in the long run, they're going to be a very, very good pairing. And we got another tie for the 17th ranked defense. We've got the LA Rams and the Tennessee Titans. And is there anyone else that ties with them? Because that wouldn't surprise me. No. But we are at the point where a lot of these teams are very clustered up in terms of their score. Not a lot between them at this point. So we'll go with the Titans first. I've got them ranked 10th in the pass rush department. They've got 3 good pass rushers in Derek Morgan, Arakpo and Jarrell Casey. A couple of situational guys like Cole Klug who contribute. Run defense, I've got them ranked 16th. I think they've got the personnel to do it quite well. I worry about them at middle linebacker still. Avery Williamson, they got rid of Zach Brown a few years ago. That might have hurt them. They could do with a high-end nose tackle, in my opinion. Struggled at times last year, looked good at others. So I'll hedge, put them in the middle there. The corner spot, I think, is a big problem. I've got them at 25th. Relying on a rookie, especially one I'm I think it's going to be very raw. In Adore Jackson concerns me. I like Logan Ryan, but they really don't have anything else in that position. If anything, this might be a generous spot for them. And I've got them at 19th at the safety spot. Again, this could be a bit high. And Cyprian concerns me a little because he was very good last year, but before that, not a huge amount of production whilst he was in Jacksonville. But I've sort of given them the benefit of doubt. So the Titans come in with 62 points, time with the Rams. Well, I've got 11th in the pass rush department. They haven't got a huge amount of players that contribute there. They've got Quinn and they've got Donald, but those are two fantastic players. 12th in the rush defence. Again, Aaron Donald's going to be a big part of that. Ogletree and Barron are good players at contributing against the run, and Michael Brockers. Where you get concerned is when you look at the secondary. Trumaine Johnson's an okay player. A bit overpaid at this point, but they haven't really got anything else. They're thin at the position. And 29th at safety. I'm not sure who's going to be starting for them when I look at the roster at this point in time. So the secondary lets down what I think is a pretty good front seven. I also want to see how they adjust to Wade Phillips' scheme before putting too much stock in them. Moving on to the teams tied for 16th with 64 points. We've got the Falcons and the Bills. We'll go with the Falcons first. I've got them ranked 15th in the pass rush department. Grady Jarrett had a great Super Bowl. Need to see more of it. Vic Beasley had a really good season, but they'll be starting a rookie on the opposite side. Even if he was a first round pick in Tack McKinley, we'll see how things go there. But pretty much the presence of the leading sacker in the league gets him an above average spot. Run defense does concern me a little bit. I've got them ranked 23rd. It depends what version of Dontari Poe shows up. This group I think could be good, but I'm not sure about the two edge rushers in terms of playing contain. And Poe, I don't think he was great last year at just anchoring. We'll see how it goes. Big fan of Deion Jones though. Cornerback, I've got them ranked 9th. I think they'll have Trufant healthy next year. That's a big plus. Robert Alford's turned into a solid player. I think they've got some depth and maybe not much high-end quality behind Trufant, but I think a lot of some athletic, improving players. Safety, I've got them ranked 21st. We'll see what they look like at that position. I think the safety position is a lot of fluidity on a yearly basis. It's probably the hardest one to evaluate in the league right now. So tied with them are the Bills. I've got them ranked 21st in pass rush. If Jerry Hughes doesn't get there, you're not so sure. Marcel Darius has been a bit inconsistent last couple of years. Carl Williams is getting older, and they need that first round pick from last season to contribute. Name eludes me at this point in time, but if they can get some help there, that would be great. The run defense, I've got them at 13th. It should be a good run defense with those two tackles at the end of the day. They'll be getting last year's second rounder and Reggie Ragland back. I think they should be a stout unit in that regard. The corner spot, I've got them ranked 14th. Maybe a bit high, I'm not so sure. Second round rookie from a couple of years ago is pretty good. Maybe a bit high. I've got them ranked 20th at safety. Really like the Micah Hyde signing. I think that helps them out at corner a little bit as well. Probably explains why I had them ranked so high at corner. At my sort of initial shock looking at where I had them ranked there again. Coming in next, we got a team ranked 15th with a score of 65. The Eagles. I put them 13th in the pass rush department. Big fan of this front four. Part of it is Derek Barnett. I'm not sure how much he'll necessarily add as a rookie, but Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox are both studs. They'll do well in the pass rush department from those two. Run defense, similarly 11th. Benny Logan there as well. Yeah, oh no, he's gone to KC. That's a shame. But it still should be good against the run. Again, Fletcher Cox a big part of that. I think Barnett will play well against the run as well. Graham does a great job of that, even if the backing crew is not the best. The corner spot, I've got them ranked 31st. I don't know what they're planning to do at corner this year. It's a big concern. It really does drag this grade down because I like the front set. Well, I love the front four. And the safety position, I've got them ranked 12th. shockingly, Malcolm Jenkins, since he left New Orleans, has turned into a real good player. So he's pretty much the reason they end up coming so high there. So that's good. 15th in the league. Defense number 14, one score higher with 66 points. It's the Panthers. Big part of that is I'm very concerned about their pass rush. I've got them ranked 19th in the league. Kawan Short is great. They get nothing from Starlo Tulele in that regard. They do have their first round pick of last season to rotate with him in pass rushing downs. Then on the edge, they're relying on old Julius Peppers and Charles Johnson. Now, Peppers has aged fantastically, but it's not going to be a big... like Charles Johnson didn't play great in the rush department last year, so that concerns me. Got him ranked 7th against the run. I think that front four's all good against the run. Of course, the linebacking group's very good. I expect them to do very well in that department. Got them 24th at corner. Part of that is from experience. I think that both Bradbury and Norwell should be better next year. Or is it Norwood? I can't even remember at this point. Not a great group, but we'll see what... Again, if they improve, could be higher up. And 16th at safety. Again, as I've said, I think a lot of safety spots are very fluid this time of year in the NFL. So we'll see what happens there. I think it will be the biggest mover in my power rankings once the season does kick off. There will be teams with safety questions that start to get answered. Coming in at 13th with a score of 68, we've got the Steelers. So I've got them ranked 20th in the pass rush department. Bud Dupree offers a fair amount. James Harrison, you never know. At this point, it's year to year. We'll see what TJ Watt can add. They can blitz from the inside. They don't get much pressure from the front line. We'll see. Run defense, I've got them at 14th. They're solid in that regard. Ryan Shazier's turned into a very good player against the run. Harrison does a good job there. Dupree does. Again, the line is fine. I've got them ranked 13th at corner. I think the young secondary really improved. Like the direction they're heading. I think there's some depth there as well. And I've got them ranked 17th at safety. Last year's rookie, Smith, I think he played quite well for them. Again, safety, as I say, I think it's going to be a very flexible position as the season begins. Coming in 12th, we've got the Texans with 72 points, partly because I don't know about their secondary. I've got them ranked 3rd in the pass rush department. Jadeveon Clowney, Whitney Merciless and JJ Watt, that should be good enough. Probably would have been first, but I just want to see what JJ Watt looks like coming back from a pretty major injury. 4th in run defense. Again, with those three, you're not really losing much against the run. They've improved at the middle linebacker spot, I believe. They should be stout there as well. The cornerback spot, I've got them ranked 26th. With Bouye having gone, it opens up a pretty big hole there. We'll see how that goes. And I've got them 27th at the safety spot. It's just hard to judge their safeties at this point in time, as it is for a lot of teams. Coming in at 11th, we've got the Buccaneers with 74 points. Pass rush, I've got them pretty high. I've got them at 12. I think a big part of that is the Chris Baker signing. I think is really going to help. Gerald McCoy is one of the best pass rushing tackles in the league. Baker's a pretty good pressure guy as well. Robert Ayers is good at getting pressures, maybe not the sacks. Noah Spence is heading into year 2. I think between the 4 of them, that should be a pretty good group in Tampa this year. I've got them ranked 5th in run defense because, again, the addition of Baker there helps. William Golson's one of the best run stuffing ends in the league. Ayers is good in that regard. McCoy is good in that regard. And the linebackers, Quan Alexander and Levante David, do a great job chasing plays down. I think they'll be great against the run this year. I really do. However, I've got them ranked 15th at corner, and there's a big caveat there. It depends how Brent Grimes plays. He was great last year, and is a big part of them being ranked this high. I think Hargraves needs to play a bit more aggressive, but by all accounts, he's been a lot better this year. Of course, a first-round pick. Beyond those two, they haven't got much, so this is heavily dependent on Grimes playing on the level he did last year. I got him ranked 26th at corner at the safety spot. Again, they've signed JJ Wilcox, who was good last year for the Cowboys. Got Justin Evans in round 2. Keith Tandy played really well down the stretch, but not quite proven enough for me to give them a particularly high ranking. So now we're heading into the top 10. And Do we have a tie at 10? Oh no, we've got just the Chargers all alone on 77 points. I've got them ranked 4th in the pass rush department. Boa and Melvin Ingram, both a good pair of players, and I'm sure they'll put plenty of heat on opposing quarterbacks next year. Run defense, I've got them 21st. The interior line, not great. Not sold on them at the linebacker spot. 5th at corner. I do like the Verrett and Hayward combination. I think they're both very good players. And 25th at safety, again, with the departure of Weddle, they're still not really replaced him. We'll see how they look next year. But this group, front 7 looks so good with that. Now they've got those 2 edge rushers. It'll be interesting to see, because they're going to be running a sort of hybrid scheme, how it all pans out. Definitely need to see it in action before I can draw too many conclusions. Coming at 9th, surprisingly, the Cardinals, because I thought their defence was not great last year, and Calais Camp was a big loss. But in terms of pass rush, I had them rated 5th. Last year, Marcus Golden and Chandler Jones both did a great job. I'm sure they'll be blitzing. I think Hassan Reddick will be effective in that regard, so I think they'll be effective at getting after the passer. However, I've got them 26th against the run. I really am concerned about that. Calais Campbell was the only one of their D linemen that I think played the run well last year. With him gone, of course, they're relying on Nkemdiche to stand up. They've also got a rookie starting in the middle linebacker spot with Kevin Minter having gone. It's a lot of concerns there for me. As well as those edge defenders play the run, the interior scares me. Corner, I've got them ranked 11th, and that's pretty much just because Patrick Peterson does a job that's so difficult. And how many teams can do, have a player that can do what he does? Not many. Slightly concerned about the guys behind him, but being able to take away a team's number 1's a weapon. And I think I like them at the safety spot. I've got them 9th. A lot of this will come down to how well Tyrann Mathieu plays this year. Last year clearly wasn't quite back from the injury, but I loved the Budda Baker draft pick. I think those two will be a really good tandem. I'm not sure how you class Dion Buchanan. He plays more like a linebacker, but I could kind of count him in that grade if I wanted to, but bear in mind that I didn't. Coming in next up, the 8th defence in the NFL. I know roughly where we should be here. The Patriots coming in with 85 points. So pass rush, I've got them ranked 30th, which drags this grade down. They've got Flowers, was solid last year. That's about it. Relying on scheme to generate pressure rather than players is not what I'm looking for here. The run defence, I've got them ranked 6th. Malcolm Brown does a great job there. Hightower plays the run great. The Patriots almost always seem to be good against the run. The cornerback group, I've got them ranked 3rd. Butler and Gilmore should both be, that's 2 very good cornerbacks. I'm sure they'll make it work at the 3rd corner. That's one of the best tandems on paper in the league. And the safety spot, I've got them 8th. Devin McCourty's turned into a really, really great safety. And they do tend to find a way of getting production from their strong safety regardless. So the Patriots coming in 8th, dragged down, as I say, by a very mediocre pass rush. The Jags come in, the much ballyhooed Jags, come in with 87 points, good enough for 7th in my list. The issue here being the pass rush, I'm still dubious about it. They come 16th there. Need Dante Fowler to show me more. Yannick Ngakoue played quite well last year, but needs to keep it going. Calais Campbell, it boosted this grade significantly because he does a great job of providing pressure up the middle. Run defence, I've got them ranked 8th. I've got no doubt Malik Jackson and him and Campbell will clamp down on the run. I think Miles Jack, Telvin Smith will be a really good tandem there, so I think they'll be tough to run on. The corner pairing, Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bouye, not the most experienced tandem, but man, there's a lot of talent there, and based on the way they both played at the latter end of last season, I've got them ranked 7th, and the corner spot, I've got them ranked 14th. Barry Church, a good replacement for Cyprian, in my opinion. We've got a tie for the 6th spot. We've got the Dolphins and the Broncos, both tied on 88. The Dolphins come 8th in pass rush. That front 4 looks very good. Very savvy trade to get William Hayes from the Rams. Cam Wake is still going strong. Charles Harris will bolster that group. Sue gives them a good pass rush up the middle. They'll be all right at getting after the pass this year. They come 10th in run defence. I think the D-line's very good against the run. The linebacker does concern me a fair bit. Was it them who got Raekwon McMillan? We'll see what he can do. And maybe Kiko Alonso played well at times last year. Willing to give him 10th because the 2D tackles do a great job there, and Jordan Phillips and Sue. The corner group concerns me. I've got them ranked 22nd, and I've got them ranked 10th at safety. Rashad Jones will be back. He's a fantastic player and a massive part of their success in the secondary. Him missing large chunks last year really hurt them. The Broncos, I've got them ranked 2nd in pass rush. DeMarcus Ware was there, they'd probably still be number 1, but alas, they're slightly thinner. But Von Miller, he's a monster. Shane Ray has developed pretty well for them thus far. However, I've got them 28th in run defence, so I don't know if they've done enough to improve that group, and they were poor last year. Some teams just didn't need to pass at all because they just ran up and down the field on them. At corner, I've got them ranked 1st in the league. They're 3 deep in a way that no other team is, and I've got them ranked 13th at safety. They're pretty sound there, and it helps when you get as corner play in front of you as good as they do. We've got a bit of a jump for the last few defences. Got the Ravens coming in 5th with 97 points. The real dampener here, because I think they're pretty great defensively at the back end of things, but I've got them 26th in pass rush. Terrell Suggs is getting older. They lost Timmy Jernigan, who was their one interior lineman that I felt could get some pressure. Really worry about where the pass rush is coming from. However, in run defence, I've got them at number 1. They've got Brandon Williams there. Suggs plays the run great. CJ Mosley. They were very tough to run on last year. I see no reason for that to change. The corners, they lost, second year corner last week, but they've still got a lot of talent there. They've got their 1st round draft pick. Is it Marlon Humphrey? No, Marlon Humphrey's the Saints one. Forget. No, they got Lattimore. Yeah, this one's Marlon Humphrey. Yes. That's it. Jimmy Smith's a good player. I think they're pretty good at corner. Safety, I've got them ranked 2nd. Tony Jefferson was great last year. Weddle had a fantastic season. I think they're a fantastic tandem. So they come in 2nd in the league. Coming in 4th, we've got the Seahawks coming in with 99 points. I've got them 6th in the pass rush. Those three deep at defensive end, very good there. If they can get some more pressure up the middle, then they've got a chance to climb this even further. But Clark, Bennett and Averill, that's a good threesome. I've got them 18th in run defence. Again, I think they're soft at defensive tackle. We'll see whether Malik McDowell can make a difference. But the linebacking group is very, very good there. I've got them ranked 8th at corner. A lot of that is Sherman. I think, is it Farrell or Harold Simon? Is an okay player. They'll get some contributions elsewhere, it seems. They've also drafted some guys. And at safety, I've got them ranked 1st in the league. Thomas and Chancellor are both, studs at their respective positions. I think it's pretty hard to argue against them being the best tandem in the league at this point in time. Coming in 3rd, we've got the Chiefs with 108 points. I've got them ranked 1st overall in the pass rush department. That simply stems from their 3 deep with great edge rushers. Tamba Hali's still playing at a high level. D Ford's an ascending player, and I'm assuming Justin Houston is going to be fully healthy next year. It's 3 very high quality pass rushers right there. Run defence got them 9th. The Benny Logan signing, I think, improves them in that regard. Middle back concerns me, but those edge rushers also do quite a good job against the run. I think they'll be tough. I've got them ranked 10th at the corner spot. Marcus Peters is one of the best young corners in football. 4th at safety. Eric Berry is a great player, and I'm sure they'll get production at the strong safety spot as well. Coming in 2nd defensively, I have the Minnesota Vikings with 111 points. So I've got them ranked 9th in the pass rush. I think Sharif Floyd, I need to see whether he's coming back. He could up it. They're good at the end spot with Robeson and Griffin. Linval Joseph as well, good player. It's a good group. Run defence, I've got them at 3rd. Anthony Barr can help the pass rush as well. They've got a good linebacking group, a very good front four. They're just stout. Corner group, I've got them ranked 4th. Somehow Terrence Newman just keeps on going. Xavier Rhodes was fantastic last year, and they got Trey Waynes has a lot of talent. If he can step up, I think they'll be one of the best groups in the league. And the safety spot, I've got them ranked 5th, mainly because of Harrison Smith. He is an absolute stud, so pretty darn good across the board there. However, the team that comes in at number 1 with 115 points, you may have figured out by now, are the New York Football Giants. So they come 7th in the pass rush department. Vernon and Jason Pierre-Paul are both good pass rushers. They just don't necessarily get enough help from the interior. They may now, they're not going to be playing 2 nose tackles, but they're still good in that department. Both very good players. Got them ranked 2nd in run defense, just behind the Ravens. Both of those 2 players, whilst they're good pass rushers, they're both also very good run players. And of course, you've got Damon Harrison there. Even with mediocre linebackers, they'll put the clamps down based on what we saw last year. Got them ranked 2nd at the cornerback position. Janoris Jenkins was a stud last year. Rogers Cromartie played really well, and they've got Eli Apple. It's a pretty deep group. They should be very good. And 6th at the safety spot, Landon Collins was phenomenal in year 2. He could improve next season. So the Giants pretty loaded defensively. Oddly for a team with little to nothing at linebacker, but the rest of the group is great. So they come in first. So there you have it. Those are my rankings. What do you guys think? Let me know, as always, what do you think of the system? Which rankings do you agree and disagree with? Let me know below in the comments section. Or you can find us on Facebook at Cover Zero. Find me on Twitter at Simon Conboy. Always happy to discuss these things, talk some ball. As I say, check out the offense episode if you haven't seen it already. Got the final episode coming up next week. I'll be adding defense and special teams and the offense scores to these defensive scores to give you a final all-round power rankings. I'll be discussing those. There's a couple of, in my opinion, anomalies. Other than that, it somewhat matches up with where I think teams will be next year. And if you enjoyed it, check out some more of the shows. There's plenty of stuff up on there. I'm going to be starting my season previews next month. And if you could like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon and all that good stuff, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for your time. As I say, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for checking this out. It's been a pleasure as always. Have a great evening and go Bucks.